Welcome to the Inner Circle Show. In today's episode, we have a lot to get through. It's going to be jam-packed. We have so much new Tesla and Palantir news and some general market news as well. But before we get into all of that, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn your notifications on so you never miss an upload Monday through Friday. The world of Tesla is a busy one right now. It's a very busy place, as it usually is. So we have a lot to cover. By the time you're watching this video, we would have already had the Tesla shareholder meeting, which means you will right now, as you're watching this video, know what the outcome of the revote was. Me, right now in real time, it hasn't happened. I don't know what the outcome is. However, we do have some very important information that gives us a very clear indication as to what the outcome will be. I do plan to do an entire segment about the outcome on Monday's episode, and we can go through exactly what the results actually mean. But I have seen this. I woke up this morning and I saw this, which was very, very, very welcomed news. So Elon Musk has posted on X, both Tesla shareholder resolutions are currently passing by wide margins. Thanks for your support. Then we click into the pictures and we can see some data here, a graph basically showing us that right now the 4 votes for the compensation plan, this is this picture in particular, the compensation plan, is looking good. Look at this, it's gone right up, and then the votes against aren't anywhere near as much. And this orange line is representing what it needs to be over to be a guaranteed win. So what you can see here is that right now, by quite a clear margin, the 4 votes are above the guaranteed win line. Therefore, it's looking good. Shouldn't even be a discussion, really, because a deal's a deal. We've spoken about this already, and I'm just glad to see that the majority of people, as they did back in 2018, have voted for Elon to receive the compensation plan, which is, of course, important for the voting power. And then we've got this picture here. This is for the move from Delaware to Texas. People think that this isn't as important as a compensation plan. It absolutely is. Some may argue that this is even more important. The reason for that is simple. If Tesla can move out of Delaware into Texas, something as crazy as the revote on the compensation plan shouldn't happen again in the future. The legality, the situation in Texas for businesses is much, much better than it is in Delaware. So we need this move. This was the potential shaky vote, to be honest. If one was going to pass and one wasn't, it was probably going to be the compensation plan and not this one. That's what I thought initially. Anyway, as the votes started coming in and I saw a lot of things on X that I voted for this, I've not voted for this, and institutions were saying what they voted for, I actually did see quite a few say that they voted against the compensation plan but for the move. So I wasn't really sure where we stood with it, to be honest. But again, this is looking good. It's not quite as a wide of a margin as we saw with the compensation plan. The 4 votes are still above that line, but not as dramatically. Either way, it's looking good. So we'll hear tonight at the time of filming this video for me. You guys in America, anyone watching actually will already know about the outcome. So fingers crossed, it's looking good, and we'll discuss it Monday. And we knew that Tesla stock was going to be a little bit volatile around this time, especially as we approach the shareholder meeting with all the uncertainty and moving towards the robo-taxi event on the 8th of the 8th as well. But right now, pre-market, Tesla stock is up by 6.55% for me. So the market so far is reacting very, very well to this news. Lots and lots of shares are being purchased at the moment. Just the other day, Tesla on X posted a very, very long post. And it's a rundown of everything that Tesla has achieved since 2018 under the leadership of Elon Musk. Of course, the reason for doing this was basically to encourage people to vote for the compensation plan. However, we can discuss this even if we know the outcome of the compensation plan, because it's very important. And there was a great breadcrumb, a nugget of information that Tesla just quickly snuck in there that we should absolutely pay attention to. I am going to show you the exciting piece of information that Tesla included in this in just a second, but it is worth our time just having a quick read through this, because this highlights perfectly, and this isn't even everything, what Tesla has managed to achieve since 2018. And it's honestly incredible. And like I said, this isn't an extensive list, but it does go to show us what capabilities they have and what they could do for the future. This is just the start. So let's have a look here. Since 2018, they have hit 5K Model 3s per week. Model 3 became the best-selling EV in the US. We've got Model 3 then becoming the best-selling EV globally. So let's just think about this. Model 3 becomes the best-selling EV in the US and then becomes the best-selling EV globally. This seems like a given now. We've seen many times before that Tesla have done really, really well with their EV sales, but think back to 2018, it was a very, very different landscape in terms of EVs. Now, 2018 in particular was a pretty good year for EV sales. Between 2017 and 2018, there was quite a big increase in terms of EV sales. This included both full EVs and also hybrids. So it was a massive achievement even back then that Tesla had the best-selling EV in the US, Model 3, and then also globally speaking too. But they've not only been able to retain this lead in terms of EV sales, they've then gone on to absolutely outdo themselves and increase it. We know this, the Model Y. This became the best-selling car in an even bigger market with even more competition in terms of other vehicles and in terms of EVs, in terms of hybrids, everything. But the Model Y didn't only become the best-selling car in the US, it was globally, and it wasn't even the best-selling vehicle of just EVs, it was the best-selling vehicle, period. So just that alone since 2018 is a massive achievement for Tesla. Moving on to 2019, you can see quite a few big achievements here. One that I want to point out in particular is the unveiling of Cybertruck. Now, clearly we had to wait a while for this. It was a little bit delayed. We heard about it in 2019, and obviously we've had to wait a while until we've actually seen the Cybertruck and then the Cybertruck go out for deliveries. Yes. But even though it was a little bit delayed, it has been a massive success and it's really shaken things up, I think, in terms of the pickup market. The production of the Cybertruck is now ramping up and actually I think it's happening faster than what we originally anticipated. And I think they will hit the goal of 250,000 production vehicles of the Cybertruck sooner than what they thought. And also look at how much attention this one vehicle is getting. I'm still seeing big celebrities purchase Cybertrucks out of their own money and plaster it all over their social media accounts. Everyone wants a bit of this. And of course, we've got the Cybertruck now going on tour. I think it's on tour as I'm making this video. It's been in the UK, it's been, around America, wherever else. And it doesn't seem, it is getting the attention that we thought it was. I don't have a Cybertruck. I can't speak firsthand about this, but everyone that I've spoken to and interacted with online that actually has one, has driven one, has only good things to say about it. They are very impressed. Okay, moving down to 2020, Tesla becomes the most valuable car maker with over a $400 billion market cap. This is a big one, achieved full-year profitability for the first time in the company's history, launched FSD beta. We've got so many achievements. 2021, they delivered over 930,000 vehicles globally. They unveiled Optimus, which, hold that thought. They launched the new Model S and the Model X. 1 millionth Model 3 was produced, so on. Moving to 2022, they started Model Y deliveries at Giga Berlin and Giga Texas. They enabled anyone in the US and Canada who purchased FSD to request FSD beta, first production of semi-trucks to PepsiCo, and we've seen the increase in demand and the different companies now having semi-trucks since this point. 2023 was a very, very exciting year as well. You can see some of the things here, including Optimus Generation 2 unveiling. First deliveries happened with the Cybertruck. Big year, lots of achievements. Tesla has achieved a lot since 2018. So many massive milestones that they've reached, some of the most innovative things, and these aren't easy goals that they've been able to achieve. And I think a lot of companies, most companies, would be happy and proud if they even had achieved 1/5 of what Tesla's achieved in this time. So let's just have a look at what they've achieved in 2024. FSD supervised using end-to-end neural networks rolls out to customers who have purchased or subscribed to the FSD in the US or Canada. We've got some Powerwall achievements here. Model Y achieves highest possible safety rating. That's quite big, I think. Produced the 6 millionth vehicle, exponential. Cybertruck production hits 1K per week. That was exciting. The miles driven on FSD has, again, just absolutely taken off. Not restricted by compute power. Blah, 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 blah. And then look at this little nugget that they've snuck in here. Deployed 2 Optimus bots performing tasks in the factory autonomously. And it's only June, to be continued. So they now have 2 Optimus bots working in the Tesla factory doing tasks autonomously. This is big news because this means that these bots are able to do things on their own. This means that they're now useful. I'm not saying by any means that the tasks that they are doing are going to be the most economically helpful tasks for Tesla at this stage. I think it's going to be quite restricted at this time. I don't think they're going to be really moving the needle in terms of Tesla's top line or bottom line or anything like that. Not under any illusions. But this is a big deal because this paves the way. This really helps us see visibility into what is going to happen in the short-term, mid-term and long-term future of Tesla. And this shows us as retail investors that the training is happening quicker than what we previously expected. If I remember rightly, we were expecting Tesla bots to be working in Tesla factories doing quote-unquote useful work by the end of the year, by the end of 2024, and then to go into production by the end of 2025. If I remember rightly, those dates could be slightly off. However, it's only June and we've been told that they already have bots doing work autonomously in the factory. So we don't even know when that happened. That could have happened last month. That could have happened 2 weeks ago. It could have happened the day before they posted that X post. We don't know. The fact is, it's happening a lot quicker. But of course, we don't have much information to go on. For example, I would like to know what tasks they're doing because I'm just making the assumption that they're not doing useful work, really, really useful work at this stage. I'm still very excited, but it would be good to get an insight as to what they are actually doing. Maybe they're just moving things from point A to point B, but the fact is it shows us the pace that Tesla is moving at. Now, they did release a video, which you can see now, of Optimus in the factory before, doing some work. And it says Optimus is currently being tested at one of our factories in this video. But I think the difference here is that in the previous footage, Optimus was being tested in the factories. The words that they're now using is working autonomously. So I think that's the key difference between what we've heard previously and what we're hearing now. So the way that I'm viewing this is that right now they have 2 bots, then they're going to have 5, then they're going to have 10, then they're going to have 20, and then they're going to have bots making bots. But the point is, slowly what's going to happen is that Tesla is going to start increasing in terms of productivity, efficiencies, cost of goods sold are going to start coming down. And then what happens is the manufacturing line gets impacted, Tesla's finances get impacted, the customers paying the money for the vehicles that the Optimus is helping manufacture get impacted, and so on. Slowly, cost savings starting to happen. And then these bots go to other factories, other companies' factories, and again, start adding money to Tesla. Eventually in the homes and all of that stuff, but one step at a time. And they're also making iterations to Optimus. We must not forget that a while ago, we learned that Tesla is giving Optimus new hands. Human hands have 27 degrees of freedom, I believe it is. They're giving Optimus 22. That is pretty close. That means, well, what does that mean? It means that the Optimus bot can more closely mimic what can be done with human hands. And that's probably quite a limiting factor in a lot of cases because that's only going to open up more use cases and even more human-like work will be able to be done by a bot. Bots don't need breaks, they don't need holidays, they can be in more dangerous environments, all of this stuff. So something else big has happened in the world of Tesla. ARK Invest. We know them, we know who Cathie Wood is, we hear about her quite a lot and her team and what they have to say about Tesla. They have backed Tesla for a very long time. They've been researching Tesla for an incredibly long time. Some of their price targets that they've released in the past are pretty crazy. The highest of the highest. You know, they are very, very bullish on Tesla midterm and long term. They released a new model with new price targets published yesterday. And did they disappoint? No, they did not. So just to give you some background before we look at the new price targets, let's just take a look at what the old price targets are. So you can see here that they had a price target by 2027 of an estimated value, so what they're expecting, you know, like the base case, $2,000 per share, which even that seems absolutely crazy for a lot of people. Their bear case was 1.4 and their bull case was 2.5. $2,500 per share by 2027. That was what they were predicting before. And quite a lot of the value was actually given to a robo-taxi fleet happening. Now, before the new price targets came out, which I'm going to show you in just a second, Elon said he was really, really curious to read about the new model, what ARK Invest had to say for Tesla. And he said the more he starts thinking about humanoid robots and about robo-taxis, the more absurd the valuation in his head becomes. So he's even thinking about this. He even can't seem to fathom how much this could do to the valuation of Tesla. He also said that he thinks ARK Invest have been one of the most accurate predictors of the value of Tesla. And let me tell you, the new price targets are extremely bullish. I do plan to do a deeper dive into the model because there's a lot to unpick there in a future episode. So make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss that. But let's just take a look at this as a high level. So let's just take a look here. So expected value this time by 2029. This is a price target by 2029. So we still have 5 years. Expected value, base value, $2,600 per share. This is just the base case. The bear value is $2,000 per share, and the bull price target, this is big, $3,100 per share by 2029. Do let me know in the comments what you think about this. Do you think this is absolutely absurd? Do you think this is crazy? Do you think this is very doable? What are your price targets by 2029? So with price targets as high as these ones, you're probably thinking, well, ARK Invest must be including the most bullish scenarios on robotaxi, on a cyber cab, on semi-truck, like all of these things. Optimus, they must be including Optimus, but actually take a look here. So they're not really including Optimus in their price target. We assume that Optimus will have minimal impact on our price target. Over the next decade, we expect Tesla to become a leading manufacturer and service provider of robots that move through physical space, as well as it will have the opportunity to leverage learnings from robotaxi as well as its in-house inference chips, training compute and manufacturing scale. Tesla expects Optimus to be completing useful factory tasks by the year end. Okay, I was correct about that. I remembered that correctly. So the fact that they're not even really including Optimus in their price targets, if they did include Optimus in their price targets and it was going to happen as bullish as a lot of people in the retail community are thinking that it will, what does this mean for those numbers? When I sit down and I try and put the numbers together for a robo-taxi fleet and Optimus even separately, it becomes a crazy valuation, so let alone those two things combined. So like I said, we'll do a deep dive into the whole model in a future episode, but do let me know your thoughts on all of that Tesla news in the comments below. Alex Karp recently did an interview with Yahoo Finance. This interview took place, I believe, before AIP Con 4 started, and he had a lot of bullish things to say that we must talk about. I'm going to leave the link to the whole interview in the description. I will leave the link to the whole interview in the description below, but I just wanted to spend a little bit of time picking out some of the highlights from this interview in case you don't have time to watch it all, and actually digesting them and talking about what they mean and why we should care as Palantir investors. So the interviewer starts by asking Alex Karp to describe AIP, Artificial Intelligence Platform, which could be a very simple thing to describe, but also a very, very difficult thing to describe, depending on how much detail you want to go in. And Alex Karp basically goes on to say that there's a lot of hype around LLMs, around large language models in the enterprise space. But he pointed out that most of them on offer are just not that useful. They're not really doing much. The outcome isn't changing very much, and it's very expensive for enterprises to actually have them. But he says what Palantir have been able to do with their 20 plus years of experience in software is actually figure out how to use LLMs, large language models, like I said, to give value, to change margins, to save lives, to help on the battlefield, and the list goes on. And this isn't just hearsay. We've seen the evidence of this. AIP Con Days. Customers coming out and saying how AIP, how Palantir solutions have actually impacted on a big scale. And Dr. Karp has said that time and time again. Show, don't tell. And that's exactly what Palantir have been doing. Then he went on to give quite a big statement. And you know what? I do think I agree with this. He said all the value in the market is going to go to chips and ontologies. We've already seen it happen with chips. You know, NVIDIA have had a crazy surge. And he also said that that will not only happen with chips, but also ontology. So I guess he was saying watch this space. He explains how Palantir's ontology allows individuals and businesses to take an LLM and use it, refine it, and then impose it onto their enterprise, all whilst upholding the most secure security. And then in true Alex Karp fashion, he hit us with this one-liner. as opposed to the alternative, which is that you buy some LLM, you party with it basically, and then the next day you have a hangover. And like I said, this was a very, very bullish interview, because then he went on to say that Palantir are sitting on the only thing that actually creates quantifiable, transformational value within an enterprise. That's a massive statement to be making. He made the point that you've only got to look at the AIP Con Days, which I think is absolutely true. They are not paying their customers to be there to talk about Palantir solutions and how good they're being. These customers want to come and they want to talk about the value that they are seeing and the outcomes that they are having. The conversation then shifted into geopolitics. He said, without mentioning where these things are actually used, LLMs plus Palantir's ontology can be welded and create massive efficiencies, especially when it comes to small armies versus large armies. He then spoke about the really big $480 million Maven contract that we found out that Palantir recently got. That was a Department of Defense contract for 5 years, and it was under the Maven project. The Maven project is just basically the US Army's effort to actually advance its Maven smart system. The Maven smart system utilizes artificial intelligence, it utilizes computer vision to basically enhance the battlefield assessments that they can make and target identifications. But what's really important for Palantir investors is that the US, and I'm sure this is happening around the world as well, is actually increasing the amount of money that they are spending within their budget on AI. And this is happening both commercially speaking, but also the military budgets for AI are going up. The portion of the military budget that is now being spent on software is actually increasing versus hardware, because for a very long time, obviously, a lot of the budget in the military was going to hardware. The world is now shifting. The world is now shifting towards software, and that is exactly what we're seeing in military budgets. But this is still not loads, but it's increasing. I read as well, actually, that the US military actually tripled their spending from 2022 to 2023. And I expect this trend to only expand. And then we have to ask ourselves, okay, well, which companies are actually benefiting from these trends that we're seeing? It's going to be companies like Palantir, Lockheed Martin, and so on. These trends that are driven by the need to stay ahead of competition due to the geopolitical issues that we're seeing and the landscape and how that's evolving just means that Palantir can basically drive forward on their mission, and also they can benefit from the point of view of growth and revenue. If you watched the entire interview and I'm missing anything that's really important, do let me know in the comments below. So in other news, we had the CPI numbers come in, and they came in at 3.3% instead of the expected 3.4%. So they came in lower than expected. We also heard the news yesterday that the rates are being kept the same. The rate pause is still happening, and right now we are not getting an interest rate cut. However, a lower than expected CPI is indicating that inflation is rising more slowly than anticipated. So that could mean, and we'll just have to wait and see, I guess, that the Fed may end up cutting rates sooner than planned. We may see some rate cuts at the end of this year. Who really knows at this point? On the screen now are the topics we will talk about exclusively on the Vault this week. And if you're a Vault member, I'm going to continue the conversation about Tesla and Palantir now. If you're not a Vault member, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next episode. If you want to watch these episodes ad-free, get exclusive and extended content and a bunch of other perks, become an insider of the Inner Circle Vault. Link in the description.